If you have a vagina, chances are you've experienced periods.
Comes and it goes and it flows and it stops, and no, I kind of like my period. I'm okay with it.
There's nothing more unjust than getting your period to me.
Women are superior because we menstruate. Suck on that, boys.
Okay, so what happens if you stop your period, like we did?
I'm Mona.
And I'm Mae.
I'm the data editor at The Guardian.
And I'm the filmmaker there.
And this is Vagina Dispatches.
So, I probably haven't had like a proper period for about a year now.
Me too. It's been about a year and it's great.
We both have the same type of IUD, right?
Yeah. Been on hormonal birth control since I was 18 and I've never really looked into how it works.
But for some reason, everything that's to do with like reproductive health, I'm just like, sure, you do what you need to do. It'll be fine.
I'm not gonna get pregnant. It's cool.
Yeah. Convenience triumphs over everything else.
Like, I don't want to shame periods,
right,
but at the same time, I just don't really want to have one.
Yeah.
After menstruation, the lining of the uterus gets thicker each month, then flows out.
But with our hormonal IUD, the uterus lining gets less thick, so some women stop getting periods.
And the IUD also builds up cervical mucus, which can stop the sperm from getting to the egg. So 99% of women with the IUD don't get pregnant.
Other people can skip periods by taking hormonal birth control pills every day without pausing.
And some people get a hormonal shot or implant.
I would never falsely end my period, never. I mean, we go back, like, how many years? A lot of years. We've been super productive together, lots of kids. I mean, they tell the full story.
I don't experience a lot of pain with menstruating because I can't feel a lot of the cramps, which is definitely a paralysis perk.
It's been a while. I'm in my 80s. When I stopped menstruating, at first it was like, oh, it was wonderful, what a relief. And then later on, it's sort of like, oh, it becomes such a pattern, a ritual, that there were moments when I did miss it.
Stopping the menstrual cycle has a complicated past.
We went to LA to meet a woman who tried to stop her period back in the 40s, former Olympian Greta Anderson.
Everybody was following the Olympic Games. As me training in London before the Games, Denmark's golden girl. Look at this thing.
Is that you?
Yeah.
Look at your face.
Yeah, look at this.
How did it feel to be competing in the Olympics?
Well, I kind of expected it. In fact, I was the fastest in the world on the 400 meter.
What happened in the 1948 Olympics?
The calendar showed I was going to have my period right at that date. So somebody gave me some kind of injection to delay my period. I thought, you know, it may be better not to have the period. Maybe I'll be stronger. Let me just try it.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, go ahead and give me the injection, you know. Of course, it didn't work out, but then, you know.
Climax of the women's swimming events, the 400 meters freestyle.
I was in the lead. I think I swam maybe 20 strokes, and that's it. I don't remember anything. I fainted. I still don't know what injection they were giving me, but, well, it made me fail. I just fall to the bottom of the pool. I don't remember anything. It's long ago. But, you know, in my mind, I'm still sad about it. If I hadn't got that injection, I probably would have been okay.
But now the science has changed quite a lot, so me and Mae don't have periods.
So you don't have period now?
No.
Okay. But what kind of...
We have like a device inside of us that stops us from having periods.
I wish that had been at the time.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that have been nice?
Yeah. Would you have taken that if you could back then?
Be sure I would.
Yeah.
That would have been great, wouldn't it? I wouldn't have to worry about period and workouts. Things have changed. Things have changed.
Things have changed since Greta lost out on gold, but maybe not all that much.
At this year's Olympics, Chinese swimmer Fu Yanwei went viral for saying her period affected her race.
And of course, this goes beyond sports. Periods can be a source of shame too. In Nepal, some women are confined to sheds when they menstruate.
In Uganda, 61% of young women say they've missed school due to their periods.
And in most of the US, as well as 109 other countries around the world, tampons and pads are still taxed despite being a biological necessity.
Fabulous.
I've been starting to rethink how bad my period really was. I didn't really have cramps. It wasn't super heavy. Like, this thing that I considered to be a huge inconvenience maybe wasn't.
We live in New York, like we can easily get tampons at a bodega. That's not true for a lot of women.
We can
across the
afford
world.
them.
Yeah.
Not even just about access, right? We can afford those products.
Yeah. For women who are homeless or incarcerated, there's these major issues of access and like cost that we don't have to think about.
And also, the fact is, most women don't have this option that we took of stopping their periods, right? For most women, periods are a fact of life, and they're a fact of life that is actually way more inconvenient than it was for us. We spoke to Donna Hilton, who was incarcerated for 27 years. She realised that inmates like her didn't get enough sanitary pads every month for their periods.
Today, she's an activist bringing attention to women's issues in the prison system.
If I haven't had access to products, I can run out quickly from work to go to a pharmacy, I can ask around friends or whatever, but I guess I'm trying to get were women leaking on themselves?
Yes, some nurses, quite a bit, wanted to see our used sanitary napkins for us to get a doctor's appointment so we can get a medical note to say we need extra hygiene products.
It's treating periods like a sickness as well. Like, to go to a doctor for your period products doesn't make sense either.
My whole point, it's degrading, it's dehumanizing, it just takes a lot out of you.
I actually don't have periods because I have the IUD. If that was an option for you, would you have preferred to have not had periods in prison?
There might have been a point where I said yes, but then it came to a point where I was standing for something, so I said no. I'd rather go through it and have the problem so I can talk about it and be genuine and authentic to it, as opposed to stopping a process that is just natural.
Donna got us thinking, how natural are periods? We tracked down the author of this book who practices in Rio, Brazil.
50 years ago, Dr. Elsamar Coutinho pioneered some of the first hormonal injections that suppressed women's periods. And he's been a leading voice in stopping menstruation ever since. So I feel like I should be very honest with you to say that I don't have my period myself. That means that I haven't had a period for a year.
Menstruation is not natural. What is natural is to get pregnant. Nature is expecting from your ovulation a pregnancy, not that you throw away your egg.
The idea that periods are so not natural when, you turn 14, you turn 15, it comes every 28 days, and it feels like it's very intrinsic to my body,
If you enjoy it, that's all right.
I
Go
don't
ahead,
enjoy it.
do
I wouldn't, if I said I enjoyed it, I would be lying, but it does feel natural.
Menstruating is not normal. I say menstruation is an invention of civilization. No animal breeds in the wild.
Okay, technically, a few wild mammals do menstruate, like these monkeys, elephant shrews, and some bats. But it's true that most animals don't.
And on average, women now have more periods, partly because they have fewer pregnancies compared to our early ancestors.
Today, most doctors agree that there isn't a biological risk to stopping periods.
But there also isn't a ton of long-term studies out there.
And just recently, one study did find that taking the pill is linked to higher rates of depression.
I don't really buy what these doctors said, that just because we used to have fewer periods, somehow it's not natural for us to have periods now.
Right, like we're not living in a cave, we can order seamless. It's modern society, it's different.
Yeah. We do stuff all the time that's not natural, right? We do it because it's convenient or it somehow raises our quality of life.
Instead of thinking about what's natural, we should be thinking about what's healthy.
Yeah, and I think that varies from like person to person, right? Some women might want to stop their periods because they have endometriosis, because they have like a super, super heavy flow. It just depends. You should just be doing the research on what's right for you.
I can and I have stopped menstruation. I stopped menstruating 3 months into testosterone therapy about over 10 years ago, so it's awesome. I couldn't go back.
Because I was a tomboy and I had very clear ideas of how I wanted to live, and it didn't involve marriage and family and all of the traditional images. Having my period was a downer because it just reminded me that I was a woman. Being a woman was like, not my favorite thing. Later on it became wonderful.
Since we've stopped our periods, we realize it's been a while since we've seen and smelled the most fundamental part of the cycle, blood.
So we went to Michigan to meet up with artist Jen Lewis and her husband Rob.
There it is. That's the magic.
Yes.
They photographed Jen's menstrual blood to make art.
The goal is to look at menstrual fluid and challenge people to think differently and see menstrual fluid differently. All right, that's it. All right, cool. Oh, very nice. It's nice layering though. I think as a society we need to normalize the menstrual cycle and we need to see what it actually looks like rather than simulating it with paint.
So there's one option for menstrual management which is potentially quite extreme, which is stopping your period. Is that something you'd ever think about doing?
I did. I was actually on a hormonal birth control injection when I was in my 20s, and I went about 6 years without a period. And at the time it seemed amazing. It was so convenient, never had to worry about it. Now I have early osteoporosis because I wasn't producing estrogen.
I do think that I should have known more perhaps when I had it put in.
Yeah, you know, and when I was 18 and went on the shot, like it wouldn't have mattered if it was a side effect or not. Those are not a concern when you're 18. My whole relationship with my periods changed, and it's like I'm tracking it now. I check to sort of see what color is it, what's the thickness, to make sure your body is behaving normally.
So that shot that Jen was on, it's called?
Depo-Provera is the commercial name. It is used for over 90 million women.
That's the same hormonal shot Dr. Coutinho helped develop. Studies found that there's a real risk for women to get early osteoporosis, especially if they take Depo-Provera as young women.
In the 70s, the Dalkon Shield IUD was linked to infertility and in some cases, death.
Today's IUDs are a lot safer, but there are risks like perforating the uterus, even though that's rare.
And hormonal IUDs contain, well, hormones, which affect everyone differently. Bottom line though, you should speak to your doctor. Okay, so even after making this, I still don't want my period.
No, me neither. But it is part of biology and it shouldn't be seen as disgusting or shameful. But it kind of is.
Right, and those attitudes are influencing the decisions that we make about our health.
Right, and that's why we needed to make this episode so that women who do have the choice about whether to stop their periods are making an informed decision. Our next dispatch, the orgasm gap.
A lot of women aren't having as many orgasms as they'd like. We try to find out why that is and how to maximize pleasure. Half the population has one, but we're not really talking about it.
Vagina.